Hi everyone, welcome back to the Art of Safe Scumming. We're talking about Snikch today, who is arguably the most powerful legendary lord for the Skaven. And he may not have the on the battle map most powerful prowess, but he does have, in my opinion, the most powerful campaign mechanics. And if we hop into those mechanics, we have Eshin actions and clan contracts. Eshin actions are tied directly to these schemes that are available up here. Right now you can see as of turn 1, we only have one tier of schemes available, and every 5 turns you get another scheme. There is a way to fast track that by using stash rations, which restores all of your schemes to full power. You can do that ever so many turns. I think it's got a 10 turn cooldown. You unlock new schemes by doing the Night Lord Say So, and there are certain level requirements, like for instance right now this one must be level 5, but we have access to the tier 1 schemed Eshin actions, and right now I can do any of these provided that I have at least one scheme available. And what's interesting about this is it allows you to level up Snikch rather rapidly if you care to play that way. For instance, the first thing I think that everybody ought to do is do a food raid using Deathmaster Snikch, and that gets you a little bit of food right off the bat, and as you can see, that caused us to gain a level right here. So as far as his actual skill tree is concerned, it looks pretty standard fare, where you've got your blue line, your red line, your yellow line, and then the individual line here. And as far as his stuff is concerned, ambush success chance on top of the already pre-existing ancient cunning, which will take you up to an additional 15% on your ambush success chance. Get an extra 20 here. Campaign movement range, Strider for Lord's Army, charge bonus for the army. This one is speed for all infantry units and concealment bombs. Upkeep for the entire army. Hero and Lord recruit rank +3 for the entire faction. Physical resistance for him and melee attack for him. And then this one, which is a leadership and control debuff for your enemies. It's pretty awesome. And then chance of stealing magical items, extra heroes defense chance. You see what's going on here. He is a stalking character, so he will always be stalking depending on whether you're close to like a Lizardman army or something like that. But for the most part, he will be your invisible character. He starts with an Eshin sorcerer, which you can argue that Eshin sorcerers are less powerful than their plague counterparts. They use the same capacity, but I think it works really well in Snikch's army and maybe one or two other armies, because the plague priests are visible, the Eshin sorcerers are stalking, and these guys are considerably faster. And when you're talking about running like gutter runners and triads and death runners, this line of magic is a more hit and run type of magic, versus the plague priests have raw battle power that allows them to annihilate entire units by themselves. These are more support characters than your plague priests, but consider that. Now, when it comes to Clan Eshin, they have a predisposition in their recruit pool. Let me just walk over here really quick. Predisposition in the recruit pool for Eshin units. And this is actually something that I would like to see them change in the next go around for the Skaven, is when it comes to Eshin's recruitment, the Eshin marked units that you can see here, like these Skaven slaves, these Night Runners, and Skaven slaves here, are normal cost, normal upkeep. But anything that isn't an Eshin unit has a debuff on its recruitment cost. It's 200%. So it makes it basically impossible in the early stages of the campaign to recruit things like the Poison Wind Mortar or even clan rats. You're basically stuck with running only Eshin units. What I would like to see them do is soften that a little bit and make it, they don't have to get rid of the 200%, but I think that they ought to cheapen the Eshin units on top of it. So half the cost of the Eshin units, or their upkeep, maybe reduce their upkeep for the Eshin units. That would be a way to make it a little bit more friendly so that you can just spam out lots of Eshin units versus the other units that you would typically like to use in most other Skaven campaigns. The other thing that is unique to Clan Eshin is that your lords cannot defect. This guy has no loyalty bar on him whatsoever. It does not exist for Clan Eshin. Your Eshin lords cannot defect, which helps out. It makes you a little loose on how you deal with your lords. There are lots of things that there is no way that you could do in like a clan scryer or a clan, particularly a Clan Moors campaign, that you just absolutely could not do in those campaigns. You can do in this campaign because these guys won't defect on you. Let's go back to the clan contracts, because for the 4 major clans, this allows you to not only build rapport with those clans, but it also allows you to get eyes on those clans, visibility on them, so you don't have to send an agent to get visibility on those different clans. So if you're playing as a Clan Scryer, Clan Rictus, Clan Molder, or Clan Moors campaign, or Clan Pestilence campaign, you have to basically sacrifice one of or more of your agents to go out and find the other clans so that you can confederate them. That is not the case when it comes to Clan Eshin. You just get that visibility by doing those contracts. I don't move. And what rapport with those factions ends up looking like is something like this. For instance, currently I'm working on confederating Clan Moors. They are being beat up by Imric, and they are likely going to be my next confederation target, but I've already confederated in this campaign Clan Molder and Clan Scryer. You can be negative or you can be in the positive with them. So for instance, with Clan Moors, control all provinces, recruitment cost for those clan rats minus 220%. So that drastically impacts that otherwise unrecruitable status for things like clan rats and storm vermin in your campaign. Now is actually cheaper than you would normally do it in any other campaign. If you go the opposite direction, you end up with negative relations and crippling control for your provinces. If we go to Clan Molder, then you end up with a physical resistance, as well as those that minus 220% reduction in recruitment cost, and you get a construction cost benefit. If you look here, if you're all the way in the negative, you end up with a crippling 4% building construction cost. And of course, you're never going to confederate them with that. Scryer is probably the one that you can get away with the most because, well, to be completely honest, research rate of +5 is pretty minimal. One help hit attendant wipes the floor with that. But if you want to do those doom flares, the warp lightning cannons, the weapons teams and stuff like that, then you're gonna need those. You're gonna need this to be able to do that. But the one that is by far the most crippling that you should never end up in bad rapport with is Clan Pestilence. So if you get good rapport with Clan Pestilence, all of your armies end up generating a food, which then negates the cost of that army on your food economy. However, if you end up in bad rapport, then you end up with a -2 on all your armies. Remember that armies already cost 1. So that's -3 per army. You are crushing your food economy if you are in bad shape with Clan Pestilence. But again, that allows you to get eyes on all these different factions and confederate them. And what you end up with is pockets across the hellscape that is Total War Warhammer 3, where I basically have Skaven Blight, and then I'm playing around with this over here to sell it to Tabaro, or not Tabaro, to Astalia, so that I can put a buffer state between me and everybody else. So I basically got Skaven Blight, which is an awesome thing to have, but that's it, and that's all I'm going to keep in this area. Same thing if I go all the way up here, up north, I've got Hell Pit, and that's it. I'm going to come down here, and I'll come back to this here in a second, but I've taken Sabaton because it has a +6 food generation, and I'll explain how I did that here very shortly. But you can see that you end up with these different pockets around the map, and the rest of your forces end up consolidating all of Cathay. So I basically have an alliance with Village, an alliance with Lokir, which I'm going to eventually break and eat him. I'll probably keep the Village one because you get access to Chaos Warriors through him, and those complement some of your armies very well, giving you a very strong front line. Chaos Warriors and Chosen in a Skaven support army is pretty awesome. But you end up with all of this territory and natural barriers to keep your territory safe. Nobody can get you from down here. The only way in is through Kugath's area here, through Greasus's area here. Greasus owns this one. And then those gates that are guarded by Village. And each of these Skaven benefit, I don't want to say uniquely, but very strongly from single settlement provinces, as many as you can get, because you can put the food generation on +2. So you're just getting food in the background by just existing turn to turn. So that is very helpful in having all of those. Trade for them and build undercities everywhere that you can in your friendly territories. Which brings me up to the main mode of getting additional income for Clan Eshin. Starting on the border of Eshin's consolidated territory are, count them, 1, 2, 3 sea lanes. This sea lane goes over here. The other one comes out down here. And the last one comes out over here. You send armies over the sea lane, and they just go through on a rampage and raid enemy territory. You can see where I basically made landfall here. Sack this, sack that, sack this. Made friends with Marathi. Sack this, that. Walked up this way, started it again, and I've just been creating undercities as I go. And in each of these undercities, you produce the food building. You can do other things with that once you've got the food building built, like this one, which takes the food from you, but you're already generating food, and this can supplement your economy if that's something you want to do, because plus 400 is not a cheap building by Skaven standards. So you got a couple of those armies raiding in different parts of the map. You're generating a lot of extra food that allows you to pump those territories that you took up to level 5 and save yourself a lot of money. So for instance, I have a lord recruited this turn right here. I'm going to abandon this settlement and I'm going to occupy it at tier 5 with half of my food that I've got sit here. All of this construction over here is uncontested. I don't have to worry about anybody taking the ground from me. I don't have to worry about defending it. I can raise a lord, demolish the city, reoccupy it at full, and then build up the high tier structures that I want for my economy, because Skaven are a grower economy. Now, bringing me back to what makes Snikch the most powerful legendary lord for the Skaven, and that is the Eshin actions. There are some specifically that are pretty interesting, like the food raid I showed you before, the small heist, there's a big heist, there's some vision stuff that's cool. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of stuff in here, but there are two that are absolutely insanely overpowered. Say I want to confederate someone. How did I get Hell Pit? How did I get Skaven Blight from Ikit? I overthrew their lair with 3 Eshin actions, or 3 schemes, excuse me. I can use the overthrow layer, and whether it is the capital of that faction or not is irrelevant. I can just, with the click of a button, take that settlement from them, and that cripples your allies so that they are now ripe for confederation.
Going, yes.
Rip their hearts out!
That's how I ended up with Sabaton over here. I'm not really looking to confederate Clan Pestilence at this time. Moors is my next one. So I just took an opportunity to take this one. That allows you to confederate at will, basically. And then the second one that is unrivaled. I mean, Ikit has nukes. Throt has the growth vats. But nobody touches Plunge into Anarchy, which allows you to eliminate a faction off of the map with the click of a button. You're having a really hard time with Grimgore. You've got somebody who's like really a pain in the butt. Like if you look at my strength ranking right now, I'm rank 4. Let's see if we can find rank 1. Rank 2, Call to Pleasure. Let's say I'm having problems with them. I could just click the button and all of their territory reverts to minor factions, and they are permanently eliminated from the map, unless, of course, they are revived or something like that. But you get what I'm saying. They are no longer available on the map. And that allows you to just steamroll. Say you do all of this consolidation in Cathay over here, and you want to work yourself into dealing with like Grimgore Ironhide, and you just don't feel like dealing with him. You can click a button. All of his territory is immediately turned over to rebel factions, and you can steamroll over them without any trouble whatsoever. The only downside to this is that this has a 100 turn cooldown. So whenever you pop this, you have 100 turns to use it. You might use it if you're playing a really long campaign. You might use it twice ever. So it's kind of like, which one are you going to use? But there are some other good ones in here. Like you could literally blow up a Black Ark at sea if you want to. Say there's a really, really ugly army that's staring you down. You go out to sea, you have them chase you. As soon as they're at sea, Deathmaster Snikch can sink their entire army and destroy it immediately. There's just so much cool stuff in here, and it's a lot of fun to play the Snikch campaign, even though he is pretty heavily hamstrung to those to the Eshin units. And you can look in here and see like these Eshin units. This is a tier 3 unit. This is a this is a tier 3 unit for Scryer, considerably more expensive for those. I would say that the other thing that is really interesting when it comes to Snikch's campaign is that the assassin building gets downgraded a tier. So normally this is a tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 building. And for Eshin, it is tier 1, 2, and 3, allowing you to get access to those units considerably faster. And it gives you a unique opportunity to build a province with 4 of those buildings in there. And what that allows you to do is recruit assassins at max tier. So regardless of whatever else you got going in the background, this is going to be recruit rank +4, +4, +4, and +4. So you got 16 ranks from your your assassins when you recruit them in here, plus the 3 from Snikch. You're recruiting your assassins at like level 20, which allows you to do weird stuff on the campaign map that you would not otherwise be able to do, like mass a whole bunch of high-level assassins in a region and tank the enemy control, allowing you to basically farm enemy rebellions if you want to. So there's a whole lot of fun stuff in the Snikch campaign. Highly suggested that you check it out. It's a major contender for my favorite campaigns in the entire game, and I hope that you enjoyed this one. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section down below, and hopefully we'll see you in another video here at The Art of Safe Scumming.
Enemy kings